Good evening, I'm Mark Schreier. Thanks for joining us tonight. The boyfriend of prison escapee Laurencia Bembenek is out of jail tonight. Dominic Gugliotta was released from the Fond du Lac County Jail on a $100,000 bond. Gugliotta was charged with helping Bembenek flee to Canada after she escaped from prison. She was serving a life prison sentence for the Milwaukee murder of her husband's former wife. 3 more military units at Fort McCoy are getting ready to leave for Saudi Arabia. Troops from Madison and Iowa were given deployment orders today. They'll leave tomorrow and Monday. Iraq's foreign minister says the buildup of U.S.-led troops proves Washington has been planning to attack from the beginning. Tariq Aziz says President Bush misled Saudi Arabia and Egypt about the true mission of the U.S.-led force. A Beloit company is producing TV dinners for American troops in Saudi Arabia. The Hormel company won the contract to manufacture 25 million TV dinners that don't require refrigeration. Soldiers will now be able to eat hot dogs, hamburgers, and French fries, the first time since leaving the United States. The first foodmobile is on its way to Saudi Arabia tonight. Today's warm weather created the perfect atmosphere for La Crosse's holiday parade. Here are some highlights of the traditional march through downtown La Crosse. We'll find out if the sun is going to shine again tomorrow after this. Our weather forecast is next. And Bob is joined with his family who drove here from Middleton to welcome him home tonight. Bob, how does it feel to be back home in the USA?
Great. I can't believe all the support that that people have been given for the troops coming home. I flew into Fort Hood Saturday night, and it was amazing. All the people that turned out to greet the troops coming home, and all the way coming back. All the flights that I've been on and all the places that I've been, everybody has just, it's been 100% behind us.
Now, you were a member of a medical unit. Were you busy over there? Was it pretty intense?
It was busy, not from the standpoint of war casualties. We got really lucky that way. We were prepared for the worst, and fortunately it never came. We did treat a lot of patients, but they were mainly routine injury and illness. The biggest treatment that we had was accidents from, vehicle accidents and stuff, just stuff that shouldn't have happened but did.
All right, we're running out of time here. One last question. You plan to re-enlist?
I suppose I probably will. It's a tough question to ask you coming off a plane after this, but I think I probably will. I've got 5 years in right now, and I've got, on the end of this enlistment, I'll have 8 in, so I'll probably stay in.
All right, good enough, and thanks to all of you for joining us tonight. Welcome home, Bob.
Thank you very much.
Ann and Bill, Specialist Miller is one of several soldiers who returned to La Crosse today. Our next stop is Harper's Ferry, a small town of about 200 that swells to more than 4,000 during the summertime. In many parts of the state, especially to the west and north of us, the season has been extended to 16 days. This way, hunters have more time to reduce a growing number of deer. This is the 3rd year the Olsons are in business. They say business has more than doubled this past year because organic gardening is becoming so popular. Olson says one reason is because organic pesticides break down naturally in the soil, but non-organic products don't. Here in downtown Santa Cruz, less than 2 miles from where people live with next to nothing, things are much different. As you can see, there's a strong American influence here, and right now there's a party going on. Every night of the week, different groups hold parades in anticipation of a carnival event that begins in about a month. It's held the weekend before Ash Wednesday. It's much like the Mardi Gras celebration in the United States. Investigators say the biggest roadblock in solving the case is the fact that even though several witnesses saw the strange man inside this convenience store just minutes before Jacob was kidnapped, nobody saw the man get in or out of a vehicle. Therefore, there's no exact description of the vehicle he was driving, and there's no license number to trace. Dan's family says they're giving him about 3 more days to rest up. After that, they're throwing a big welcome home party for him this weekend. Sorensen is working with area governments to develop a survey to find out if commuters are willing to change their habits and ride buses instead of driving cars. And if the parties can't reach an agreement out of court, the case may end up before a federal judge for a final ruling. This little guy is getting restless, waiting to see his dad for the first time. Sean Duffy of Winona was born about 6 weeks ago. His dad was on duty in the Gulf.
I had a friend who videotaped the birth so that later on when Mike and I are home, then he can watch the birth. And I haven't seen it yet, so we'll see it both together for the first time.
Even though the plane was about 45 minutes late, nobody seemed to mind the delay.
Great. Absolutely great. Just for this.
Oh.
I'm so happy, you know. I just think it's fun.
They're a little afraid of me right now. I think they'll be all right.
How old are they?
He's 5 and he's 3.
The last month or so of just standing down waiting to come home took the longest. It dragged on forever.
What were your duties over there?
We were involved with civilians, making sure that they were provided for and didn't become casualties of war.
For Gary's family, it's 2 celebrations in one. Not only is it Gary's homecoming, it's also just the beginning of his 35th birthday party.
At first it was kind of tough in that this one ended up breaking his arm shortly after he had went. The furnace went out and everything just started kind of going, but we got things on track.
What are you going to remember the most about this whole experience?
Can't take things for granted.
The family is especially happy because Gary will be here when his 3rd child is born this summer. Reporting in La Crosse, Mark Schreier, Newswatch 8.
We're rolling and we're going 3, 2.
No, this isn't a Hollywood soundstage. It's a home near downtown La Crosse, temporarily turned into a production studio by broadcasting students at UW La Crosse.
I want to set up the trip shot of his feet tripping. We'll go to a floor shot, and then at the end what I'm going to have her do is scoop the dog up and bring him in.
Good, and zoom in.
The crew is videotaping 9 different skits about domestic abuse for the Wisconsin Winnebago Health Department.
What's the matter with you? Are you stupid or what? Haven't I told you about this before? What have you got to say for yourself?
Sorry, Dad, I didn't mean to. I forgot. I won't do it again.
When you see something, it has a much more profound effect. It's got shock value, and that's what we want to do. Hopefully it will lead to maybe support groups.
The project is paid for by a federal grant. Those involved say it's a win-win situation for everyone.
We are under a budget crunch, and I'm in a field television that needs equipment, and unfortunately our equipment is getting very, very old, and in order to educate our students, it is necessary now that we go and find grants in order to bring in money to buy equipment.
I mean, it's almost like we're doing a movie and we're doing takes, and people are learning that it's time-consuming, and you have to have a lot of patience with it, and I feel people are learning a lot and getting good experience too, and it's good exposure and something to put on a resume.
Every time I come home from work, this bag is on the floor somewhere. I end up tripping over it. What the hell's the matter with you?
I think it's important because, well, you know, like if someone's getting abused, then they can go to other people, like that'll help them.
Radcliffe hopes to begin using the video in January. That means Turner's next project will be to edit the finished product. But that's not the only thing Turner has to worry about. Her students are also producing a video yearbook, another way to make up for the budget cuts. Reporting in La Crosse, Mark Schreier, Newswatch 8. I'm Mark Schreier. Tonight at 10, we'll tell you why Winnebago tribal leaders ousted from their jobs are back at work tonight. The boyfriend of prison escapee Laurencia Bembenek is out of jail tonight. Dominic Gugliotta was released from the Fond du Lac County Jail today on a $100,000 bond. Gugliotta was charged with helping Bembenek flee to Canada after she escaped from prison. She was serving a life sentence for the Milwaukee murder of her husband's former wife. 2 men are in jail in Juneau County.
Okay, we've done it. Lisa won $700. Congratulations, Lisa. And Robert, what a big winner he was. He won $1,400. We had a $1,000 bonus. He goes home with $2,400. Robert, congratulations. Nice. I know it's not the most money anybody ever won here, just about. Okay, our thanks to all of you for being with us, and we'll see you next time right here at Windows and Goodbye, everybody.
Seen that show?
That show? What the friend you talking about?
Would you calm the foe down, please? That show where they trust one another, they gotta go up and answer the questions.
Oh, yeah, that show.
It's a good show.
Friend today it is.
Hey, watch your mouth. Friend or foe, weeknights at 10:30.
Milk expert Polly Latowski is here to show how the unique Arm & Hammer Blue fridge and freezer pack can help keep milk and other foods tasting like they should. Look, milk that's been in the fridge without the fridge.
From the beginning. Tariq Aziz says President Bush misled Saudi Arabia and Egypt about the true mission of the U.S.-led force. A Beloit company will produce TV dinners for American troops in Saudi Arabia. The Hormel company won the contract to produce 25 million meals. They're similar to TV dinners, but don't require refrigeration. Soldiers will soon be able to eat hot dogs, hamburgers, and French fries as well, the first time since leaving the U.S. The first Wolfmobile is on its way to Saudi Arabia tonight. Iraq's health minister says the country is dealing with a deadly shortage of drugs and other medical supplies because of the United Nations economic blockade. He says the country is also running out of milk for babies. He calls the embargo not only inhumane, but criminal as well. Another U.S. soldier stationed in Saudi Arabia has died. Military leaders say an airman was killed today in a vehicle accident. 50 U.S. servicemen have died since Operation Desert Shield began in August. Iraq is accepting a proposal for peace talks with the U.S. under one condition. Saddam Hussein says the talks must also deal with Israel's occupation of the West Bank. But President Bush says no. Vice President Dan Quayle says Palestine is not an issue on the table. An elderly lacrosse man hit by a car while walking to church 2 weeks ago has died. 82-year-old Joseph Schreier died yesterday from head and internal injuries. He and his wife were hit by a car while crossing Caledonia Street on November 3rd. 43-year-old Young Vang Yang of La Crosse is charged with failing to yield to pedestrians. Police say he may face more serious charges. Today's warm weather created the perfect atmosphere for La Crosse's holiday parade. We hope we'll be able to show you a few. Here we go. Here are some of the highlights from the traditional march through downtown La Crosse. We'll find out if the sun is going to shine again tomorrow after this. Our weather forecast is next. A psychiatrist says Bamenek's first story contained too many details. He says most people affected by psychogenic amnesia usually provide short answers that are vague. And he says psychogenic amnesia usually only affects events that happen after the trauma, not before.
Okay, so Mark, closing arguments are set for this case tomorrow. Does anyone involved with this case have any idea just how long the jury deliberations may last?
It's hard to say, Bill, but most people agree it's going to take a long time. Testimony went on for 7 days. More than 40 witnesses took the stand. So the jury has a lot of conflicting evidence to weigh. There's a lot of information that needs to be weighed in this case.
Okay, Mark, thanks. We'll have more from you at 10.
But in many parts of the state, especially to the west and north of us, the season has been extended to 16 days. This way, hunters have more time to reduce a growing number of deer.
This way.
One of the biggest problems facing people who settle here in these barrios outside the central city is contaminated water. The area is unsettled. Therefore, the city has not installed any sewage or draining systems. Water becomes contaminated with human waste and also serves as a source for mosquitoes to breed. Here in downtown Santa Cruz, less than 2 miles from where people live with next to nothing, things are much different. As you can see, there's a strong American influence here, and right now there's a party going on. Every night of the week, different groups hold parades in anticipation of the carnival event that begins in about a month. It's held the weekend before Ash Wednesday. It's much like the Mardi Gras celebration in the United States. Investigators say the biggest roadblock in solving the case is the fact that even though several witnesses saw the strange man inside this convenience store just minutes before Jacob was kidnapped, nobody saw the man get in or out of a vehicle. Therefore, there's no exact description of the vehicle he was driving, and there's no license number to trace. The troop behind me just entered enemy territory. They didn't know where they were going or how close they were to the opposition. The enemy right behind me just opened fire. Unfortunately, this isn't the first time tragedy has struck this family. The couple says things have gone from bad to worse since Frank suffered a serious back injury at work about 18 months ago. He's been treated for chronic back problems ever since. The couple thought things were looking up this past summer when their third child was born. Unfortunately, the boy was born with a bad heart and only lived for about a week. Metcalf says the trip would take about 2 hours and 15 minutes. Right now, it takes about 8 hours by car and 1 hour in an airplane. In addition, there will be an important side benefit as well. The trains would reduce the amount of traffic on the interstates and reduce the numbers of people taking airplanes. That means airline officials wouldn't have to worry about expanding existing airports to handle increasing numbers of travelers. Good evening, I'm Mark Schreier. Thanks for joining us tonight. The boyfriend of prison escapee Laurencia Bembenek is out of jail tonight. Dominic Guglielmo was released from the Fond du Lac County Jail on a $100,000 bond. Guglielmo is charged with helping Bembenek flee to Canada after she escaped from prison. She was serving a life prison sentence for the Milwaukee murder of her husband's former wife. 3 more military units at Fort McCoy are getting ready to leave for Saudi Arabia. Troops from Madison and Iowa were given deployment orders today. They'll leave tomorrow and Monday. Iraq's foreign minister says the buildup of U.S.-led troops proves Washington has been planning to attack from the beginning. Tariq Aziz says President Bush misled Saudi Arabia and Egypt about the true mission of the U.S.-led force. A Beloit company is producing TV dinners for American troops in Saudi Arabia. The Hormel company won the contract to manufacture 25 million TV dinners that don't require refrigeration. Soldiers will now be able to eat hot dogs, hamburgers, and French fries, the first time since leaving the United States. The first foodmobile is on its way to Saudi Arabia tonight. Today's warm weather created the perfect atmosphere for La Crosse's holiday parade. Here are some highlights of the traditional march through downtown La Crosse. We'll find out if the sun is going to shine again tomorrow after this. Our weather forecast is next. And across today, our next stop is Harper's Ferry, a small town of about 200 that swells to more than 4,000 during the summertime. In many parts of the state, especially to the west and north of us, the season has been extended to 16 days. This way, hunters have more time to reduce a growing number of deer. This is the 3rd year the Olsons are in business. They say business has more than doubled this past year because organic gardening is becoming so popular. Olson says one reason is because organic pesticides break down naturally in the soil, but non-organic products don't. Here in downtown Santa Cruz, less than 2 miles from where people live with next to nothing, things are much different. As you can see, there's a strong American influence here, and right now there's a party going on. Every night of the week, different groups hold parades in anticipation of the carnival event that begins in about a month. It's held the weekend before Ash Wednesday. It's much like the Mardi Gras celebration in the United States. Investigators say the biggest roadblock in solving the case is the fact that even though several witnesses saw the strange man inside this convenience store just minutes before Jacob was kidnapped, nobody saw the man get in or out of a vehicle. Therefore, there's no exact description of the vehicle he was driving, and there's no license number to trace. Dan's family says they're giving him about 3 more days to rest up. After that, they're throwing a big welcome home party for him this weekend. Dan and his family will return to Camp Pendleton, California in 3 weeks when his vacation time is over. After that, he'll get his next assignment. He hopes that will be in North Carolina, where he wants to continue to teach training for biological warfare. Reporting in La Crosse, Mark Schreier, Newswatch 8. This little guy is getting restless, waiting to see his dad for the first time. Sean. These 6th and 7th graders are videotaping a day at the Westby Middle School to show problems of overcrowding.
There's a lot of difficulties because there's hardly any faucets and there's not very many bathrooms. The school's getting old and there's a lot of people in it, and well, if a fire started, they couldn't get out.
The crew is videotaping this fire drill to show how long it takes for everyone to evacuate.
They get outside, the walls of the school, so to speak, where they take their research and their learning and apply it in a real situation.
You should maybe follow one preschooler into the bathroom and have them try to use the sink. The sinks are about this high, they can't get the water on, they can't even get the bathroom doors open.
For part of the project, the students are learning how to do this job, interviewing students and faculty about the daily problems they face and working in an overcrowded facility. For some of the students, it's turning into a training ground for future careers.
I like meeting people and running around and never knowing what you'll do next.
You can't be on one side. You gotta see both sides, and just really tough.
The students will produce a video documentary and write a 4-page report. The finished products will be shown to the school board and entered in a national contest. Reporting in Westby, Mark Schreier, Newswatch 8.
We're going to have to cut. We got a technical problem here.
ranch is divided into 4 main housing areas, one for each stage of the breeding program. This is where pregnant mothers come about 4 to 6 weeks before they give birth. The moms stay here with their offspring until the babies are about 1 month old. Police say speeding and alcohol cause more than 75% of Wisconsin traffic deaths every year. More than 2 people are killed in car crashes every day in this state, and more than 62,000 are hurt every year. When the lockers are full, the latch tends to jam, and the kids can't get the doors open. So one student developed a way to open the locker from the top. The goal is to teach children the value of diversity by blending differences from all over the world into one united group, representing the melting pot of America. Teachers say learning to read is just as easy as learning to talk. Children learn to speak by hearing phrases and sentences and by associating meanings with them. Children use the same method when they're learning how to read with whole language reading. In addition to their music, students are also loading up their cameras to do some sightseeing. Plans include visits to the Epcot Center, MGM Studios, and Walt Disney World. Here in downtown Santa Cruz, less than 2 miles from where people live with next to nothing, things are much different. As you can see, there's a strong American influence here, and right now there's a party going on. Every night of the week, different groups hold parades in anticipation of the carnival event that begins in about a month. It's held the weekend before Ash Wednesday. It's much like the Mardi Gras celebration in the United States.
And then I'm going to ask you to hold that and stand right in the middle.
This second grader is striking a pose that may one day save her life. Blockbuster Video is videotaping kid prints at no charge. The goal is to give parents more ammunition to find their children if they get kidnapped.
It captures a lot of different aspects of a person than just a still photograph.
The video also brings out the personality of the child. You actually get to see the child as well as hear them speak, so you can identify the voice and also their mannerisms.
Where do you go to school, Katie? What's your favorite subject?
I like reading.
Reading? So we get a picture of their face, a close one of that, and then we do a full body shot.
The service is especially helpful for parents who don't have video cameras of their own. Parents just bring in a regular VHS videotape, or they can buy one here for $2. In just a few minutes, they can leave with a video kid print of their child that they can keep.
It's a non-profit. The proceeds go to a Center for Missing Children. Because it's an annual event, they just have to bring it in, and the following year we update it again.
Jerry and Patty Wetterling know all too well that parents need any ammunition they can get. Their son Jacob was abducted about 2.5 years ago. He's still missing.
We've sent the videotape we had of Jacob to several places where they had a possible sighting of a child that looked like Jacob. You know, they'll look at the tape, and some cases it didn't look like him, but in one case they were convinced. They thought for sure it was him, and it intensified our efforts towards that area.
The Wetterlings strongly urge other parents to get their kid prints taken. The free service is available weekdays through June. In Onalaska, Mark Schreier, Newswatch 8.
Okay, we need to get a sack for some pears and get a sack for some apples, and we'll...
Grocery shopping is a family affair for Doris Bedward and her 2 daughters. The Ferryville family shops in La Crosse every week. The People's Food Co-op is always their first stop.
They help you out as much as they can, and if something isn't out there that you need, they either get it or order it. See what we got for cheese on sale here. The price, mainly. It's the best in town.
And what about the quality?
That's tops too, as far as I'm concerned.
Other shoppers come here because the store not only offers commercial groceries, it also sells fruits and vegetables that are grown organically.
Agribusiness has been very busy dumping all kinds of chemicals on our fruits and vegetables, and I'm concerned about that.
We change our products. We're continually stocking, get as much produce as we can locally. We're like our tomatoes right now are from Melrose, so just like garden tomatoes, and we make that little special effort that to get the very best that we could possibly get.
The co-op first opened its doors 15 years ago. It's now outgrown 3 different locations. When the store moves to its 4th building in November, it will have more room for its customers. 500 to 600 people come through these doors every day of the week.
Get some oatmeal maybe, kids. Good for cookies.
grains, nuts, cheeses, a wide variety of spices. We get them in bulk, and you buy them in bulk, and we go through them, and they're not packaged and sit in a warehouse.
The store is always open to the public. Members of the co-op pay annual dues ranging up to $125. They receive several things, including shopping discounts. In La Crosse, Mark Schreier, News Watch 8.
Thank you.
Joining us now is State Senator Brian Rood, who's a member of the Senate committee holding these public hearings. Brian, thanks for joining us tonight. Realistically, what can the legislature hope to accomplish, if anything?
Well, I think there are some restraints on what we can do. Certainly the state budget is one. The fact that Wisconsin is in a competitive position vis-a-vis the other states is another.
All right, Senator Brian Rood, thanks for joining us tonight.
Good to be here.
And once again, that public hearing begins at 6:30 tonight, right here at the downtown branch of the La Crosse Public Library. Now, the goal is to convince the government to renew funding for the coordinator position when the current funding runs out in April. Joining me now is the person whose job may be on the line, along with our interpreter for the hearing impaired. Pete Klitsky, thanks for joining us tonight. Exactly what do you do for people with disabilities? Can you give us an example?
What I do is help people find stuff that will help them be more independent.
And how many people do you help? I understand that you serve a 14-county area.
Yes, I do. We estimate it's about 18% of the population here that has some form of a disability.
All right, very good, and we'll all wait until April to find out if you'll have a job next year, right?
Yes.
Okay, Pete Klitsky, thanks very much.